representation of woman identity in Henrik Ibsen's A Doll's House and Robert Frost's Home Burial. Feminist reading. First of all, let's take a look at the writers. Henrik Ibsen. Henrik Ibsen is a Norwegian writer born on 20th March 1828 and died on 23rd May 1906. Ibsen is referred to as father of realism. Some books of Henrik Ibsen are A Doll's House, Hedda Gabler and Other Plays, Ghosts, etc. Now about Robert Frost. Robert Lee Frost was an American poet born on 26 March 1874 and died on 29 January 1963. Robert Frost's poetry dealt with an essential loneliness which linked the limit of empathy and sense that something are inexpressible. Some books of Robert Frost are Stopping by Woods on a Snowy Evening, The Rod Not Taken, Home Burial, etc. What is feminism? Feminism focuses on analyzing inequality. Feminism is a movement in which it tries to define and establish equality for women in certain bases like legal, cultural, political freedom, and also equality of sexes in all spheres. Main themes discussed here are oppression, discrimination, and patriarchy. Storyline: A Doll's House. The main characters Torvald Helmer, he is a bank officer and a typical patriarchal husband. Nora Helmer, wife of Torvald, and she is a housewife. They have three children. The next character is Krogstad, fellow worker in the bank of Helmer. Mrs. Lind, friend of Nora, and she is a divorcee. A Doll's House is a one act play and is considered as a realistic social act. The play is all about a husband and wife relationship. The main character, Nora, is a housewife and she had to keep a secret from her husband. But somehow he came to know about the secret. Then the play tells us how Helma treats Nora after knowing about the secrecy and the changes coming into the relationship. The main themes discussed in the play are the status and identity of women after and before marriage. The play was written during the time when women are considered subordinate by their partner. In the play, we can see that Nora is represented as a baseless character. That is, she is represented as a woman without any identity. The patriarchal society considered woman as a creature, not as an individual. In the play, Helmer also considered Nora as a possession and not as an independent woman. The play exposes the defects of Victorian society that they have to obey the male member of the family. Nora, before her marriage, she had to depend upon her father and after marriage, her husband. Nora had no freedom to take any decision of her own. Nora had to depend on her husband for financial needs also. She is being supplied with little amount for buying household things and from that she saved money to save the husband from illness. Helmer is a typical example of patriarchal husband. During the time when the novel was written, the society think that men have the ultimate power. Helmer always says that he will help his wife when there arrives any difficult situation. But when really a situation arrived, he exactly became a patriarchal husband. He put all the blame on Nora, but really the debt she has made was for her husband. Toward belief in patriarchal society. Even he strives to keep Nora in this system, but she recognizes herself and gains self knowledge and rebel against such patriarchy. Another anti feminist feature is that Helma always refers Nora using terms such as skylark, singing bird, squirrels, etc. From this, the reader realizes that Helmer is not treating Nora as an equal human being but instead like a pet. Nora, the protagonist of the play, lives in a decorative surrounding as a doll and finds out that she is nothing but a precious instrument in her husband's hand. At last, we can see that Nora finds a new space for her own and she leaves her home. Their 8 years of married life was broken due to lack of communication and understanding. Next one is a poem by Robert Frost, Storyline of Home Burial. The main characters are rural husband. The poet gives no name to the husband. Then wife, Amy, and their only child who is dead. The same situation of the play, that is a doll's house, can be seen in the poem also. The poem describes an anxious conversation between a rural husband and his wife whose child has recently died and they are in the edge of separation. There are mainly three tragedies discussed here. The first one is the death of the child, second one is the burial of their marriage relation, and third one is the burial of their home. All the three are interconnected to each other because the death of the child leads to the burial of their marriage relation and the burial of their home. The poem was written during 1914, and the situation of the period was that men are supposed to control their feelings and not allowed to show it out. The husband in the poem is very much like this. He is not at all bothered about the death of his only child and he continues with his daily routine. There is a mental and physical separation happens between the husband and wife due to lack of communication and understanding. According to the wife, the male folks are blind creatures, and by saying this, she leaves the house. The poem is about the male dominated society. Towards the last, the husband remarks that he will bring back his wife by forcing her. Conclusion. Both the play A Doll's House and poem Home Burial are really two sides of a single coin, that is, both ends in the same nature. Amy and Nora are only just mere characters and not really the protagonists. At last, both of them seeks ultimate freedom from the male dominance. That is, Nora and Amy gets off from their home and seeks a new space in the world. Thank you.